Welcome, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News at ClimateViewer.com. It's March 16th, 2022. And of course, bioweapons labs in Ukraine, all over the news. Can't get enough of it. Been kind of stuck on this one for the last week, trying to figure out what to do about it. And of course, I wanted, I'm a mapper, so I wanted to map them all out. And I thought it would be a good idea to dig into that. And of course, life always gets in the way. So I'm slowly working on that. But I wanted to enlist you, the good people of the Climate Viewer community et al., to jump in on the party and let's track down all of the bioweapons labs in Ukraine. Furthermore, let's get into the propaganda related to these bioweapons labs or biosafety labs. Choose your acronym, BSLs. And then we're going to talk about the hypocrisy of the United States, China, and Russia on these biosafety labs / bioweapons labs. Nobody should be pointing fingers at anybody at this point. I think we all know why. And we'll get into all of that. But first off, let me just say, if you're watching this anywhere else, please come over to YouTube, type in Climate Viewer, hit that subscribe button. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you can, come over to connect.climateviewer.com and support my work on Patreon or PayPal. That would be greatly appreciated. I am the sole provider for my family. I have a 12-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old daughter, and a wife of 22 years. And right now, this is the only money we're making. And guess what? With a $400 a month gas bill, and about $700 worth of revenue from YouTube and the donations, it's tight. So any support would be greatly appreciated. My family will thank you very much for that. Let's get into the details. Enough about me. So this all started, of course, right here with, and I'm going to throw the chat up there. Good morning, chat. How you guys doing? See me, Siren, John Otter, Paris Logan, Russ Peck, Darren Farrell, and V-Log Surfer. Appreciate you guys being up so early. Not everybody gets to get in on this. I'm going to bring the chat up over here in my other monitor real quick just so that I can say a wise eye. All right, there we go. That's being done. Let's get back over here. So, of course, the Russian ministry put out this video. I did have a copy of this, and I'll bring it up real quick, which I thought was very interesting because I watched this in the morning and then late and bookmarked it, and then later that evening it said this video is not available in country. Good job, YouTube. Appreciate you. So YouTube obviously doesn't want anybody seeing this. So I did find a copy of it on BitChute, which we'll come back over here to. Links in the details. Always like to give you guys the links because for you to participate in this Where's Waldo of the weirdo world, and find these biosafety labs, I'm going to need you to, have all the same references I have. Now, of course, I have many more references than what I put in the details. All of these articles here, all of these articles here. So clearly I'm not giving you all the stuff, and, we might as well bring this up at the end. So I'll put this down here at the end. I didn't even plan on it, but now that I see it, yeah, it's kind of relevant. About, Biden takes big step towards government-backed digital currency, and Cliff High talking about 0 day and the SWIFT disconnect and how all of this could lead to a digital currency and the crash of the dollar. So what we're really seeing here going on with all of this propaganda is kind of overwhelming. And I've tried to really, wrap my head around what's really going on. And I think that we can honestly say at this point, the Great Reset is underway. That a lot of this propaganda going on is about the fact that, the dollar is inflated. Everybody's feeling the inflation. Everybody's feeling the prices, the gas prices, food, everything is going through the roof. The dollar is crashing. They printed more money than, God could have ever imagined. And why is this important? Because in the ideology of technocrats and the technocracy movement was this idea for a one world digital currency. And the idea being that you cannot make any private transaction that cannot be tracked by the government if everybody in the world had the same digital currency, because staying private is almost impossible. That's why I suggest that everybody go over to connect.climateviewer.com. Bottom of the page, you'll see a link to expressvpn.com/climateviewer. If you're not already on a virtual private network that encrypts all of your data traffic, now's the time to do it, because everything you do, say, type, upload, download from the internet is tracked by your internet service provider. It is tracked by the browser you're using. It is tracked by cookies installed in that browser. You have got to take your privacy back. Do that with expressvpn.com/climateviewer, and you'll get 3 months free in addition to supporting this channel and my family. I would greatly appreciate that. And you will greatly appreciate it because it is the fastest VPN on the planet. And they have a zero log policy. It is perfection encryption. It's so good that whenever I'm doing my research on my VPN and I hit up dtic.mil, which is the military's repository for all of their files, they won't even accept my connection to their website if I'm on ExpressVPN, because they know they have no way of knowing who the hell I am. It's that good. But back to the story. Let's get right into this. So Russians put out this video saying there is a such thing as a VPN buster. Now, MAC address hacking and installing callbacks through VPNs. There are ways to manage that. I'll get into all of that sort of thing in another video, but I do understand what you're talking about, and we will we'll explain how to circumvent all that in a future video. Let's just put it that way. So Russian Minister of Defense briefing biolabs threat to Slavic nations. And it says in this slide right here, as you can see, the funding agency of the work is the Ministry of Defense of the U.S., the Department of Defense. Defense Threat Reduction Agency. The work is carried out by a military department of Black and Veatch. And you can see in the cover photo, I cleaned this up considerably. And you can see over here, CH2M Hill. Haven't really done much research on these two companies, but, future video. More is going to be coming on this. We'll get back to that later. But regardless, this is the source of the image that's in the cover of this video. And let's get to the propaganda first before we get to the facts. Russia released disturbing documents. Ukraine destroyed evidence of U.S.-funded bioweapons program, SARS-2. And this is from Christian Journalist Reports, Gaspa News. Great Game India. What a hell of a name. Journal of Geopolitics and International Relations. 30 bioweapons labs were commissioned by Pentagon in Ukraine. Commissioned by the Pentagon in Ukraine. Okay. We're going to explain what all this propaganda means. I'm not just trying to play, some tricks on you. Oh, wait. China amplifies unsupported Russian claim of Ukraine biolabs. Okay. So let's look into all of that. I'm gonna throw this one in here at you as well. Fact check: why Russian claims about U.S. biolabs in Ukraine don't hold up. Interesting engineering. Despite tensions, research in biolabs to fight deadly diseases must go on. I mean, there's another opinion for you. So, I like to try to get as many different opinions because when you're reading into these articles, you really have to understand slave speak. You have to understand perception management, public relations, narrative networks, all of the different tools that are used to manipulate the same set of facts to get an outcome, a perceived narrative in your brain, to do mind control. That is the purpose of propaganda, is mind control using words. So as you're reading these articles, you have to constantly be on guard for high-level descriptors, for deceptive terminology, and understand all of these things. So I try to find as many different sources from as many different fallible humans as possible, and then discern the truth from that. So my takeaway on this is pretty simple. There have been bioweapons labs in Ukraine before Ukraine was no longer a part of the Soviet Union. So these bioweapons labs were created by Russia. For Russia to say that the Defense Department in America created biolabs in Ukraine is almost laughable. I have found no evidence of any brand new bioweapons labs in Ukraine that were created after the USSR fell apart and Ukraine declared its independence. I have found evidence of the Department of Defense working with these biolabs. I'm going to show you that to you now. But it's kind of freaking obvious to state that these were already there. They were Russian biolabs. And then whenever Russia, the USSR fell apart, that, of course, Ukraine inherited all these. Ukraine inherited the Chernobyl nuclear mess. There are many other ionospheric heater technology, space surveillance technology. Hell, I believe the central hub of the KGB is in Ukraine. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in Ukraine that got left over from the USSR that, at the time when it was all falling apart, they just didn't have any time to go back and say, hey, we should probably do something about that. But regardless, you're not buying my narrative. Okay, I don't expect you to. In fact, I encourage you not to, because you know what? I'm human too, and I have been wrong before. But let me be real clear about what I'm about to show you. Pretty sure I know what I'm talking about. So you don't have to buy my narrative yet. And I hope that you will look into the they were retrofitted. Okay, yeah, that's partly true. Let's argue with chat because I love that shit. Keep me honest, people. So we're gonna go back to 2005. And in this document called Treaties and Other International Acts Series, Weapons Proliferation, Agreement between the United States of America and Ukraine, signed in Kiev, August 29, 2005. This is from state.gov, so this is the U.S. State Department. And in it, you can see that this treaty, basically is to ensure that all of the chemical and biological weapons that were present in the, Soviet Union that are now in the hands of the Ukrainian government, that they're not spread all over. Agreement between the Department of Defense of the United States of America and the Ministry of Health of Ukraine concerning cooperation in the area of prevention of proliferation of technology, pathogens, and expertise that could be used in the development of biological weapons. The Department of Defense and the United States of America and the Ministry of Health of Ukraine, hereafter referred to as jointly as the parties, desiring to implement the agreement between the United States of America and Ukraine concerning assistance to Ukraine in the elimination of strategic nuclear arms and the prevention of proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, signed October 25th, 1993. as extended and amended hereinafter the Umbrella Agreement. Where's my video game fans out there who know about Umbrella? Anyway, the Umbrella Agreement is just, an overarching agreement. As it pertains to the prevention and proliferation of the technology, pathogens, and expertise that could be used in the development of biological weapons, recognizing the existing cooperation between the Science and Technology Center Ukraine and the Lviv Scientific Research Institute of Epidemiology and Hygiene, and noting that pursuant to Article 2 of the Umbrella Agreement, the Ministry of Health of Ukraine has been designated as the government of Ukraine cabinet ministers as the executive agents to this agreement. They agree to the following: in order to assist Ukraine in preventing the proliferation of technology, pathogens, and expertise that are located at the Scientific Research Institute of Epidemiology and Hygiene, the Ukrainian Scientific Research Anti-Plague Institute in Odessa, and the Central Sanitary Epidemiological Station in Kiev, and other facilities in Ukraine identified by the Ministry of Health of Ukraine. You mean all of those? Anyway, that, where were we? And that could be used for the development of biological weapons. The U.S. Department of Defense shall provide assistance to the Ministry of Health of Ukraine at no cost, subject to the availability of funds appropriated for this purpose in accordance with the terms of the agreement. The Ministry of Health of Ukraine shall use all material, including equipment, instruments, and supplies, training of personnel, and services provided in accordance with this agreement exclusively for the purpose of preventing the proliferation of technology, pathogens, and expertise that are located in the facilities in Ukraine and that could be used in the development of biological weapons. This agreement and all activities undertaken in accordance with the agreement shall be subject to the provisions of the Umbrella Agreement. In event that discrepancies between this agreement and the Umbrella Agreement, the provisions of the Umbrella Agreement shall prevail, meaning the old agreement trumps the new agreement. Okay? The Ministry of Health of Ukraine shall provide the U.S. Department of Defense a list of facilities in Ukraine that may receive assistance under the agreement, establishing the Ministry of Health of Ukraine's order of priority in such assistance. And I could go ahead and read you the rest of this. Links in the details. Please read it. It's interesting. But regardless, so this is the one that, has made the rounds. And everybody's going, why did the U.S. Embassy in Ukraine delete all the PDFs on the biological weapon facilities? So, of course, this is the archive.org version of it. Let me bring this up real quick. We go to Biolabs. We'll just do that open file location. So, I've been, grabbing all of these files, basically, and keeping up with them. So what you have is these are the current PDF files that are on the website. They've now put them back up. And then you have the originals, which were deleted. And these are the DTRO. They start with DTRO. So I have both the original documents that were deleted from the internet, and I have the ones that are currently up on the live version of the website. And you can compare them side by side. I'm going to. I have on most of them, but regardless, there are no takebacks on the internet. So all the original things, we've got it. So even though they scrubbed it, links in the detail. Now you don't have to go to all these different posts on all these different social medias to find them. Shit, they're right here. Just click on the fact sheets on the sides, and we're going to hunt these suckers down. But these are far from the full list of actual facilities in Ukraine. I want to find them all. Gotta catch them all. And I'm going to show you how to do that and how to, get in on the fun. Because for me, mapping is fun. I mean, it is the best version of Where's Waldo I ever played. Anybody who's been to ClimateViewer.org, you already know. You can go over to ClimateViewer.org and you can basically go to ClimateViewer 3D, go to maps, And what I can do is I can come over here to Ukraine and I can just go like this. And then, of course, I already know, hey, nuclear. We got the Chernobyl accident. So I might as well put that one up. We'll start there. So we'll go to energy and pollution, and we'll go to the nuclear meltdown. And we can see that it is, it's between right on the border of Ukraine and Belarus. And the reason why, for those that don't know, is that when the Chernobyl meltdown happened, the winds were going this way towards Moscow, and they didn't want that to happen. So they did a whole lot of cloud seeding right here to make sure all the radioactive rain fell before it ever reached Moscow. Links and details on this on weathermodificationhistory.com. But regardless, so bring that up. That's obviously one. We got all the different nuclear reactors of the world, so I might as well turn those on while we're here. Where are we at? No, here. And then we'll go over to the space facilities, the ionospheric heaters and all that stuff, and we'll just turn on all the things just to see what we end up with, because it's always interesting. You never know what you're going to find. And we'll just go through those real quick. So I'm going to turn all of these on, and then we'll go back and take another look at Ukraine real quick. Probably should have brought this up beforehand, but hey, this is the way the live things go, okay? I'm an open source kind of guy. All of these map files that I've created in the past, years and years and years of work. You guys have no idea. Turn P9R, your maps turned my father into a map junkie. That is awesome. I am a map junkie, as many people know. And if you haven't been here, you'll realize I am seriously a map nerd when we're done here. I could turn on surface-to-air missile sites. Why not? I mean, shit, it's kind of pertinent to this whole Ukraine thing. It's a really big file, though. Wow. Yeah, maybe turning on SAM sites was a bad idea, because that's a whole lot there. Here, let's make this black so it's actually more visible. Boom. Okay, so yeah, that's Ukraine's surface-to-air missiles. Maybe I should turn that off, because it's pretty much blanketing the map now. That's a whole lot of surface-to-air missiles. And yes, you can actually look at each of these and see what type they are, and all that. But early warnings radars with the SA-2 missile sites and all of that. We're gonna turn that one off, because that's just too much. Big maps like that just they coat the screen. Let's just put it that way. See, and then the Russian woodpecker. Okay, because we know that's there. So now we're gonna come back in here to Ukraine. And this is what we're looking at. All right, so let me go back to the white map. We'll go back to even maybe satellite now. We'll just put it on this for now, because it pretty much highlights it. So as we can see, nuclear reactor right here, South Ukraine. Nuclear reactor here. Zaporizhzhia. I'm not a Russian, okay? Sue me. But anyway. And then over here, we've got nuclear reactor here and a nuclear reactor here. And you can't see any of this because I've got chat up. Chat, bye-bye. I was trying to show you pictures, but you cannot see pictures if I have your faces, your chat's over top. So anyway, yeah, that reactor, and I went and I programmed each of these like a web page so you can actually see the type of reactor, all of that sort of thing. And these are all the things that, Putin's pretty pissed about, because, he likes these toys. He misses these toys. Down here, you've got the other part of the Duga array. You got the Uran 4 radio telescope. You got the Uran 2 radio telescope, UTR 2 telescope. I mean, these are absolutely huge facilities. When you come down here, the Uran 1, again, bunch of Tesla-looking coils, out in the field. You can actually go and put it on the Bing satellite, and each one of these you'll be able to zoom right in and actually see them. I actually have them highlighted for you. So this is the UTR-2 radio telescope, which, you know, they also use for doing missile detection and among other things. So there's a lot more to Ukraine than just the things people are telling you about. And of course, the most famous of all, the Russian woodpecker, the Duga 3 radar, which was powered by the Chernobyl nuclear reactor, which led to, in my personal opinion, the CIA blowing that sucker up after, you know, it was accused of doing weather warfare over the United States in 1983. It was blown up in 1986. Accident or intentional by the CIA? HBO, if you watch their documentary on this, they say it was an accident. If you listen to the Russian government react to the HBO special, they say clearly the CIA blew the damn thing up. And when you hear about the actual, you know, ionospheric heating over America that occurred in 1983, then you start to go, is ELF able to manipulate the weather? This was in Popular Communications, June of 1984, before the nuclear plant blew up. Yeah, there's more than just a little bit of conspiracy there. So this is Ukraine according to ClimateViewer 3D. What's missing is a whole bunch of bioweapons labs. And I hope that you guys can get in on that. And I want to show you how right now. So we're going to go through the rest of these details. The fact sheets are over here. And I'm going to do one with you so that you guys understand my whole process for mapping. And hopefully you can get in on this. I would love help on creating maps. That would be great. Then I don't have to do all the work myself and I can focus on all these other things. Because hell, I haven't made a video in like a week. And, you know, that's because I've been literally going, do I go ahead and complete the entire map of all 30 sites plus the other ones I'm going to find? Or do I go ahead and make the video and then ask for help? Here we are. So, as an example, over here on the sidebar, you can see that they've got the Lviv Research Institute for Epidemiology and Hygiene. So I went and I opened that PDF, and this is the before they deleted them PDF, which actually has a street address. So what I was able to do is then just plug that street address right here into Google Earth. And I can't really blow this sidebar up, so you guys are just gonna have to kind of deal with that. So sorry. Here's how it works. So I put the address in there. I'm going to go over here to my places. I'm going to hit add and I'm going to hit folder. And I'm going to call this folder. Let me move this over. We're going to call it Ukraine Bioweapons Labs. Okay, so I made a folder, Ukraine Bioweapons Labs. If you want to really be specific, you can go into the folder down here and you can say, I'm going to put by James Lee. And you can give me your contact information in there too, just so I know that this file came from this person. I will reference you when I put it on climateviewer.org. If you're so inclined to actually get in on this, I'm not holding my breath, but we shall see. So regardless, you create a folder, and then right here, there's a little yellow pen dot. Okay, so I click the pen, and that's going to put it directly on the spot that we just put. All right, so now I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to grab the name. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to paste that directly onto this marker. Okay, so now I've got that marker, and as you can see, it is in 3D. I can zoom in here, and we can actually see the building. And now it says Lviv Research Institute of Epidemiology and Hygiene. And I'm going to show you this, and it's going to immediately crash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and file, and I'm going to save, and I'm going to save my places. Now, I have a secondary source that I use that is really, really good. And I've got the Google Earth KML file for Wikimapia downloaded. If you've never heard of Wikimapia, let me bring that up real quick. Anybody recognize that boat? Anybody know what that boat is? Let me know in the comments. If you recognize that boat, let me know in the comments. Anyway, going back over here. So now, where were we? I was doing this, and then Wikimapia. So I went to Wikimapia, and this is what I saw today. Wikimapia is turned off for some days. Days or even weeks. The site is under cyber attack all these days. Stay tuned. Explanation later. Because Wikimapia is an excellent source of finding Pirates Bay. I shouldn't have read that out loud. I should just let it roll by in the chat. But you, my ninja. Anyway, so I went and I looked, and what I did was I brought up the Wikimapia overlay in Google Earth, and this is what I saw. And I'm going, okay, so do I have the right spot? I want to make sure I got the right spot. So then I took this and I copied it, and I went to Google Translate, and I put it in here, and what do you know? What does it say? The Lviv Research Institute of Epidemiology and Ministry of Health, Ukraine, functioning spores of 1939 rock. Anyway, so as you can see, this is how I go and I find things that I normally wouldn't be able to find because Wikimapia is crowdsourced. It is not only open source, anybody can post on this thing. And that's how I found a lot of radars, VLF, ELF, antennas, a lot of the stuff that I had trouble locating. I would double check Wikimapia to see if somebody local had taken photos, because some of these facilities you cannot find photos of anywhere on the internet. And what do you know? We got photos on here that were taken by locals who posted a picture of this bioweapons lab in Lviv. And as you can see here, and then even an older one back in its heyday. And there's a Nazi flag right there beside it. Oh, I'm in the way. There is a Nazi flag right there beside it. How about them apples? So yeah, the United States created these bioweapons labs. But there's a Nazi flag next to the same building. Who's buying this story? Who's buying this propaganda? To the person who said that they're not buying it earlier, you buying it now? Let's continue. So, how did I find this information? Wikimapia I've been using for the better part of 10 years. It's that good. So what I did was in Google Earth, I brought up the Wikimapia overlay. All right. So I actually click this, and then it's going to bring it up. Now watch Google Earth censor the shit out of this. So I click this, and then I click that view information on this, and that's how I got here. Okay. So as you can see, that's different. That's the English version. Also at this location. And then bam, I'm over to the Russian version. Hey man, you got to be an internet sleuth, hacker extraordinaire, or just be nosy as hell to get to the places that I end up. But that's how I got there, okay? So I went into my Google Earth. I brought up the Wikimapia overlay. It brought up the English version. And as you can see, if I click this exact same thing that I just translated for you, and then I just click English down here at the bottom, bam, we're on English. All it says is, here's the address and the type of architecture it is, and it just says medical research. No additional information. Russian version, additional information. Have not even translated this yet, but let's translate it right in front of you, because I thought that I would hold off on that till we were live. So let's see what we got hiding under this, symbolism. No, there's way more words than that. I want all the words, all the things. Don't play with me. Really? That's all you're gonna tell me? Ordered on April 26, 2017. Come on, bro. There's all of these words, and you're not telling me that that's what that means. Russian to English. All right, well, whatever. Google doesn't want to play. Translate from Ukrainian. How about that? Aha, here we go. The order of April 16, 2017, some issues of reorganization of state research institutions, organizations, and enterprises. Reorganize the state research institution Lviv into of hygiene of Ukraine by joining the Lviv National Medical Danilo Haltsky University. Okay, so just a little bit of additional info. Some university is now, in charge of that. But still, there's always some other information that, are put in by these, and you can see right here, they've got a link. Haven't clicked it. Don't have my VPN on right now. Don't plan to. I don't visit foreign countries without having my VPN on, and I don't stream while my VPN is on because apparently YouTube frowns on that sort of thing. YouTube. But yeah, Operation Paperclip. Me and my wife were talking about Werner von Braun the other day. She had no idea. It was like NASA, Nazi, Werner von Braun, V2 rocket. He was a good Nazi. I mean, that's according to America. He was a good Nazi. So all of the different fact sheets they're in the details right now. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and do those, and I'll track all these down pretty rapidly. But what I'm looking for is additional sources of information, because there's got to be, if the Russians are claiming there are 30 facilities, I want 30 facilities on the map. But now let's get into that whole hypocrisy thing, because I think it's kind of funny, and it's not funny all at the same time. Anyway, SAM.gov, exception to fair opportunity for countering especially dangerous pathogen threats in Ukraine. This notice was contract awarded September 17th, 2021. And you can see right here, the original thing, Defense Threat Reduction Agency. Yeah, that's what the Russians were talking about in their video. And, they say, all these things. But what's interesting is they say that they built these facilities, but what you actually see in here is that the US dollar investment total, let me get myself out of the way. These damn, you can't read it with me in the way. Total cost of laboratory, $1.5 million. $1 million for design and construction, and $468,000 for lab equipment and furniture. So you mean to tell me that they built an entire bioweapons lab for $1.5 million? Or did they take the facility that was already there and put in extra safety precautions, and they constructed new laboratories, same building, new safety protocols? That's what I'm reading. I mean, because in my world, $1.5 million doesn't build you a freaking bioweapons lab from scratch. The building was already there. It says the permit for working with pathogens was issued by the Regime Commission of MOH in December 21, 2011. So, I mean, all of this isn't jiving with the Russian narrative. And at the same time, I think that, like I said at the opening of this video, the American, Chinese, and Russian propaganda regarding these bioweapons labs is all hypocritical. And I'll get into that immediately. So you can look through this, and they talk about a total of $3.6 million. There's a whole lot of, how much money is redacted all through this document. Justification for an exemption to fair opportunity amendment of the DTRA, Cooperative Threat Reduction, Biological Threat Reduction Program, proposes to procure without using full and open competition, remediation, commissioning, endurance run, and requiring required training for the state scientific research Institute of Laboratory Diagnostics and Veterinary Sanitary Expertise in Kiev. That wasn't on the list. You know, and the State Service of Ukraine for Food and Safety Consumer Protection Regional Diagnostic Lab, Odessa RDL, it's on the list. Procurement action would occur if, anyway, it gets into all the details. Link's already in the detail. You know, this is the sam.gov link, and the file I'm reading to you is a redacted signed ETFO amendment, and you can see that right here. So you're gonna have to, you know, just download that sucker and read through it. Probably a whole lot more information in there. But let's get to some hypocrisy. Why don't we? Because, you know, I love pointing out a hypocrite. And of course, the American government, full of freaking hypocrites. Russian government, full of freaking hypocrites, both constantly putting out propaganda. If you don't believe that the United States government puts out propaganda, go turn on any of the 3-letter news agencies and watch for 2 hours. And if you don't see it, you're blind, or you just willingly, you know, submit to everything is true. But the propaganda is thick. So this is from January of 2015 on ClimateViewer.com. Biological weapons, Calmatives, and terrorism. Biological weapons. Now, I just want to point out how hypocritical it is to bitch and moan about dangerous bioweapons labs in Ukraine when there are so many right next door here in America. Why do I say this? Because if you start to look at this, and I'm going to skip past the part about chemical weapon trails, such as calmatives, harassing agents, incapacitating agents, lethal agents, blister agents, blood agents, choking nerve agents, all of the different things. Calmatives from the Joint Non-Lethal Warfare Directorate, you know, ways to make entire groups of rioters pass out, piss themselves, the gay bomb, all of that stuff. The gay bomb, yes, it's a thing. Look it up. Oh my God. These are the kinds of things that governments come up with. And this is from the American government. Air Force Wright Laboratory, Dayton, Ohio, for instigating research and development on a chemical weapon, the so-called gay bomb. Yeah, it's a real thing. And unfortunately, you know, I mean, the idea was that they would like drop it in Iraq, and the Iraqi we're gonna get Mig Jagger in chat's talking about Plum Island. We're going there, buddy. We're going there. Are you like peeking at my tabs? I mean, are you peeking at my tabs? Chat is peeking at my tabs. Anyway, we're definitely going there. But anyway, so this is the peek inside the Joint Non-Lethal Weapons Directorate's Chemical Weapons Program. And these are all the different facilities that are available here in America. Can I get rid of this sidebar? I want that to go away. You go away. And let's get rid of that bar because this is from sunshineproject.org. And let's just blow it up a little bit. And then let's get all of us out of the way. Is this the same as the halitosis bomb? Yeah, I mean, they kind of put them in the same category. That's according to Wikipedia. But gay and bad breath are two totally different things. I mean, unless you were gay and you were doing certain things, then you might have bad breath. But that's beside the point. Anyway, so General Dynamics in Redmond, Washington. United Defense LP in Minneapolis, Minnesota. M2 Technologies in Massachusetts. Advanced Polymer Laboratory of University of New Hampshire. Applied Research Laboratory at Penn State. U.S. Department of Justice, Washington, D.C. Joint Non-Lethal Warfare Directorate co-sponsor funds work on central nervous system depressants, pepper gas, OC, and calmative mix. Now, I worked in a prison. I don't know how many people remember this. But I worked in a prison in Florence, Arizona. It was owned by the private prison company called Corrections Corporation of America, CCA. And we housed 560 Hawaiian inmates. Now, imagine me. I'm not a big guy. I mean, as you can see, not that big. I do have a couple muscles left over. I'm 45 years old. This was 2001, so we're talking over 20 years ago. But regardless, I was in there at probably 175 pounds, staring at 400 plus pound Hawaiians. And one of the things that they had that most public prisons, state-run prisons don't have is OCCS gas. Now, OC is oleoresin capsicum. It's pepper spray. It burns. But CS gas is a nerve agent. It is a military-grade nerve agent. Everybody that went into the training program to become an officer at CCA had to be sprayed with this stuff. And when I got sprayed, and I'm telling you, I've been hit with bricks, I've been stabbed, I've been shot. When I got hit with this shit in my eyes, it was a foam spray. We had to have our eyes open, and then they running across your eyes, and then you had to blink. The minute that stuff hit your nerves, you believed you could not breathe. It's completely mental. It's a nerve agent. It's undescribable. I cannot, unless you've experienced it. The reason why we had to go through it, because these weapons, even though they were non-lethal weapons, they are so dangerous and so painful that dangerous is kind of a metaphor, but mentally, like you literally think you're gonna have a heart attack and you cannot breathe. So everybody needed to experience it. In addition to like all of the pressure points and control tactic stuff, I got whacked in the neck 30 times. We had 30 students, so everybody had to go and sit in the chair one time and then get the backhand to the side of the neck. Regardless, when this stuff hit me, it took 20 to 30 minutes before it wore off, and people were forcing me to breathe. So CS gas, nothing to mess with. I can only imagine some of the shit they're coming up with in these facilities. Rant over, back to story. So anyway, U.S. Army TACOM at Picatinny, New Jersey. U.S. Army SBCCOM, Army Research Lab at Aberdeen, Maryland, Aberdeen Proving Grounds. U.S. Department of Energy at Oak Ridge, Tennessee. U.S. Department of Energy, Los Alamos, New Mexico. And Armtech Defense Products Co. at Coachella, California. Molded fiber, non-lethal 81 millimeter mortar round for dispersing chemical weapons from a grenade. To say that, chemical weapons are no longer a thing, they're banned, nobody's working on them. The sunshineproject.org, this is where this comes from, sunshineproject.org. The sunshineproject.org website is deleted. I have found massive troves of amazing shit on there from archive.org, which I'm going to continue to show you. So this is the big one, protection or proliferation. Now, what were we talking about earlier? The non-proliferation agreement. High contaminant labs and other facilities in the U.S. biodefense program. Now, these are all across America. And this is the original webpage. I like to give all the references. So you can go to sunshine-project.org/biodefense, or just go to my article and click the freaking link, because that'll take you right to it. If you click on this picture, it will take you to that page. So this is where I'm getting this from, and it says right here, side 1, PDF, side 2, the back, which is the key that has all the addresses. I'm going to go ahead and put all these in this map, because I intend on mapping out every bioweapons lab in the world. Why not? I mean, we got all kinds of other fun stuff on climateviewer.org. Don't you want to get in on the fun? So if you're Russian, Ukrainian, if you can speak that language and you're good at finding Russian bioweapons labs, get in on the fun. Help a brother out. Go map some stuff out. So these are the facilities. Get out of my way. Go to full screen. And you can see that they have, basically yellow and then yellow with a hard hat or biosafety level 3 or BSL 3. And then, so operational or construction, under construction, everything with a hard hat was under construction when this map was created, I believe, circa February 2006. I imagine many of these have been completed since then. And then, the red ones are BSL 4 or biosafety level 4. Those are the most dangerous. And then over here we have open air testing locations, OAs, which you can see over here in Utah. This is classified and or secretive research, which has got the little government spy looking thing right here. Quiet. Shh. Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. Over here in Nevada. Down here in New Mexico. 2 in Texas. Alabama. Virginia. All over the place. So, top secret. Don't talk about it. Biodefense aerosol facility and recent release or other exposure. This is the reason I'm bringing this up. All these red and black markers are biosafety labs that had a public release. Now, I'm focused in on this one right here at Plum Island, and we're about to get into that and to show the hypocrisy of all of this because I thought they released all the prisoners in 2020. Not quite, Mary. But regardless, airborne testing, biodefense aerosol facility right up here, Vermont. I mean, dude, I need to know where these places are. I need names, addresses. I want to know. I am curious, and inquiring minds want to know. Do you want to know? Help me out. Let's get in on this thing. So let's look at the back side of this page because all of these happen to be listed out. And that really makes this job a lot easier as far as America is concerned because of the beautiful people at the Sunshine Project. And you can see right here, operational biosafety lab level 4 facilities at Fort Detrick, Maryland, DCLS Biotech 6 in Richmond, Virginia, Center CDC, Atlanta, Georgia. How many people watched The Walking Dead? How many people saw the guy talk about, do you know what kind of freaking stuff we have in here? And then they blew up the building. That's because the CDC in Atlanta, Georgia has 2 different facilities that are biosafety level -4, the highest level. I'm not getting the Sunshine link. All right, let's hook the chat up. How's this chat? Tell me if this is working for you. Click that bad boy. Tell me if that worked for you. web.archive.org. This is a 2010 snapshot of it, and it's www.sunshine-project.org/biodefense. Somebody in chat, let me know that worked, because YouTube likes to censor links and all kinds of things. They censor all the things. I've been shadow banned for over 7 years. So don't be surprised. But somebody let me know that worked. Anyway, so on the back of this, we can see CDC Atlanta, University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston, Southwest, FDTN for Biomed Res in San Antonio, Texas. Planned or under construction BSL-4s, and they're all listed right here. National Institute of Health Integrated Research Facility in Frederick, Maryland. Sweet. We've got confirmation. Then operational biosafety lab level 3 facilities, list of all of them. This is on the, where you see right here, side 2 key. It's on the back. So this is a poster that they had posted out, printed, And it was two-sided, and on one side they had a map, and on the back side they had all the details. Brilliant way to do it. Print one out for yourself. So let me know in comments. I mean, did you know that there were this many facilities in America? And do you find it hypocritical for people to be talking so much about Ukraine and the accidental link, or that Russia might use these bioweapons on the Ukrainians, and if they do, that means World War III? When we have biosafety lab level 4s all across America, and all of these red markers, they are, according to this, recent release or other exposure, where just like the Wuhan lab, something leaked out into the public. Now, this has been many, many times over. Lethal virus from 1918, genetically reconstructed. Sunshine Project 2003. U.S. Army scientists create Spanish flu virus in laboratory. Medical benefit questionable. When you're on this page, if you look at some of just the news that are on here, faulty aerosol chamber infects 3 people. It's insane. Reports on France and Germany. I'm going to have to look into that. I'm going to dig and continue to work on this map. I would love to make a map of deep underground military bases. That is really hard to do. I mean, it is really, really hard to do. I tried to do it at one time, and the problem with that is getting to a point where you have a credible map that's not just a whole bunch of points, that are saying we think there's one here. I mean, that could go on forever. But this we could knock this one out the park. I believe that, a small group of dedicated individuals could knock this map out in less than a month. Of course, they'll probably be on to all kind of other things by then, but, we do not forget, and we do make maps. So please help me out with that. That would be great. So let's get to this Plum Island thing, because, as stated in the map, there have been leaks. And over here, you can see this link. This is off the coast of New York. Probably talking about, and I didn't check the back if they actually have the leaks on there. No, they don't. But they do have the classified or secretive research, like the U.S. Army Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland, which I already mentioned. The DOE Nevada test site, yeah, I know about that. Dugway Proving Grounds, yep. Kirtland, yep. I know about all those. Okay. Notable known recent U.S. accidents and releases. Lab acquired Tularemia in Boston University, Mass. 2004. Plague-infected mice lost in Newark, New Jersey, 2005. Lab-acquired E. coli in Pennsylvania, 2002. Anthrax in letters from Fort Detrick, probable, Maryland, 2001. Anthrax contaminated officers at Fort Detrick, 2002. Ebola needle stick, Fort Detrick. Damn, I accidentally got Ebola from a needle in Fort Detrick. Lab acquired E. coli, Beltsville, Maryland. Live anthrax shipped as dead, Frederick, Maryland, 2004. H2N2 flu in test kits, Cincinnati, Ohio, 2005. Thomas Butler case, Texas Tech University, Lubbock, 2003. Q fever. Is that QAnon fever? Q fever exposure, Rocky Mountain Labs, Hamilton, Montana, 2005. Faulty aerosol chamber infects 3, Seattle, Washington, 2004. Live anthrax mishandled, Oakland's Children's Hospital, California, 2004. Nope. So what I'm about to show you isn't even in this list. But let's get into it, because this one's a hellified story. So I wrote that chemtrail, or the biological weapons and Calmatives and Terrorism, in 2015. Now, before that, I didn't even have a web page for this, apparently. I just put it up on YouTube. Plum Island power failure causes virus release during Hurricane Bob in 1991. And this is probably one of the scariest damn things I ever read. And this is from a Department of Homeland Security, Fusion Center, Department of Homeland Security meeting in 2008. So, hope you're all sitting down for this, because this is some shit right here. And this is from the National Bio and Agro Defense Facility, which is Plum Island. Draft Environmental Impact Statement, public meeting 2008. And I went ahead and I bookmarked it by just putting a little comment up here. And we're going to go down to that. This seems weird. Let's pull this over. All right, here we go. We've been talking a little bit about Plum Island. And just so you know, this is not conspiracy theory, people. This is from dhs.gov. Shit, here you go, chat. Read along. Boom. This is from the video details. It's right here in the video details. Link still works amazingly. We've been talking a little bit about Plum Island. And in 1971, representatives from the U.S. Department of Agriculture proclaimed that, quote, Plum Island is considered the safest in the world on virus diseases. As proof of this statement, there has never been a disease outbreak among susceptible animals maintained outside the laboratory on the island since it was established. Well, as we know, that changed in 1978. As I described before, with the release of the foot and mouth disease virus into pre-experimental animal holding facility. And in 1982, the Federal Review Board found that there was a dangerous situation that was due to the management's inclination to expedite programs, resulting in compromising safety. Let's hit the pause button real quick for a moment just to remind everybody this. The government sucks at everything. If you want a job done well, usually you want the private industry to do it. Healthcare, things like that, you know, when it matters. I mean, there are many, many cases to be made for and against capitalism, but if I had to choose private capitalist companies over government run, I would choose private every single time. And this is why. Because they suck at everything. So, to reiterate, there's a dangerous situation that was due to management's inclination to expedite programs, resulting in compromised safety. This is the crux of these biosafety labs, these bioweapons labs. They're all over America. They're all over the Ukraine. They're all over Russia. They're all over China. We all know about the C-19 and the Wuhans, and the Wuhans blaming the Fort Detrichs. And now you know why the Fort Detrichs, because it is a BSL-4, Fort Detrick, Maryland. It's on the Sunshine Project map. If you didn't know, now you know. So, of course, China says America created the COVID virus. America says, we'll defer to the WHO. Let's not talk about it. Maybe it did come from the Wuhan lab, all of that stuff. But regardless, this right here is why it is a problem. It always will be a problem. Humans are fallible. Equipment is fallible. This dangerous shit will eventually leak out. It's the same thing I say about cybersecurity. There are no such things as secure computers. Information security is an oxymoron, and so is biosecurity when you're talking about weapons grade viruses that can cause the deaths of billions. So in 1991, the federal government decided to privatize Plum Island. This should have been a good thing. And the New Jersey company which was the low bidder on the contract, took over. So whoever bid the lowest got to take over Plum Island. I mean, I guess they were trying to save a buck. And that wasn't a good idea. And in order to cut costs, they reduced expenses for safety and security measures. In 1991, following that change, there was an underground cable supplying Lab 257 at Plum Island facility, which some of you have read the book about Lab 257 and will know about this. Lab 257. What are they talking about right there? Well, I had to look that up. Lab 257, the disturbing story of the government's secret germ laboratory. Strictly off limits to the public, Plum Island is a home to virginal beaches, cliffs, forest ponds, and the deadliest germs that have ever roamed the planet. Lab 257 blows the lid off the stunning true nature of the checkered history of Plum Island. It shows that the seemingly bucolic island in the shadow of New York City is a ticking biological time bomb that none of us can safely ignore. Based on declassified government documents, in-depth interviews, and access to Plum Island itself, this eye-opening, suspenseful account of the federal government germ laboratory gone terribly wrong. For the first time, Lab 257 takes you deep inside the secret world and presents startling revelations on virus outbreaks, biological meltdowns, infected workers, and periodic flushing of contaminated raw sewage into area waters, and the insidious connections between Plum Island, Lyme disease, and the deadly West Nile virus. And I've gone on ad nauseum about the links between Lyme disease and its spread all through the ticks. We have it here in South Carolina. Thank you, Plum Island. The book also probes what's in store for Plum Island's new owner, the Department of Homeland Security, in this age of bioterrorism. Lab 257 is a call to action for those concerned with protecting present and future generations from preventable biological catastrophes. Lab 257. Now you know. Sounds like an interesting book. I don't even know who wrote it. Don't care. Just had to look it up, and all ringing pretty damn true to me. And we'll get into that right now, because this is straight from the Department of Homeland Security in a public meeting. What you are about to hear is creepy AF. And following that, in August of 1991, Hurricane Bob hit Plum Island and knocked over the overhead power box, which was the backup power for the facility. And as a consequence, the freezers containing virus samples defrosted. Air seals on the lab, which were breached in the animal holding facilities where the vents failed. The fail-safe mechanism of air dampers sealing off the facility to open air also failed. The fail-safe failed. Melted virus samples mixed with infected animal waste on the floor, and swarms of mosquitoes filled the facility. 1991. This took place in what the USDA called the safest facility in the world on viruses. In 1991, in September, the USDA denied that any system failures had occurred during the hurricane. Can you believe that? So all of these happened, and then the U.S. Department of Agriculture said none of this happened. that mosquitoes were literally feasting on the virus samples that were spread all over the floor. The air seals were broken. Everything was getting out. And lab workers that were occupying the lab at the time of the blackout were fired. In 1992, OSHA and the EPA cited the Plum Island facility with hundreds of safety violations. OSHA returned 5 years later and found that the violations had not been corrected. 5 years after being cited for all of these things, they came back to Plum Island at a biosafety lab that's supposed to be the most safe in the world. And they still hadn't fixed this shit. At the time, 124 new violations were found. In 2000, July, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation found very troubling hazardous waste violations at the Plum Island facility, prompting the New York State Attorney General to sue the USDA. In July of 2001, the court approved consent order forced the USDA to admit serious discharge violations. August 2002, Plum Island workers went out to strike to protest unsafe working conditions. And in December 2002, the National Resource Defense Council named Plum Island number 2 of 12 worst polluters in New York and New Jersey. And this is it. And as a state senator on the task force was quoted as saying, "What disturbs me is the consistent flow of misinformation. I feel that some of this, of the misinformation borders on a cover-up. It shakes the foundation of our very form of government." Now, chat, I just want to say that knowing the history of this stuff and knowing that we have these facilities all over America, they're all over Russia, they're all over China, they're in almost every single major country in the world, that they are constantly subject to human failure, equipment failure, and they are housing the most dangerous pathogens on the planet, including the Spanish flu that killed half the damn world in the 1913, 1918. When you consider that these dangerous weapons and these new hybridized, genetically modified super bugs that have been created in these facilities, and the constant stream of stories of lab leaks just here in America, and then you consider the entire world, you consider what we've gone through for the last 2 years, and then you consider all the propaganda being thrown back and forth between America, Russia, and China over some labs in the Ukraine, you have to question yourself, what the hell is going on? And at the end of the day, you know, it always reminds me of this quote, and I don't even know if this quote's real, but it always reminds me of this quote. And I'm just going to go here to the privacy page on the New World Order Technocrats in the Surveillance State, and I'm going to scroll down here to references, or actually the timeline. And this statement just always gets me. Today, Americans would be outraged if the United Nations troops entered Los Angeles to restore order. Tomorrow, they will be grateful. This is especially true if they were told that an outside threat from beyond, whether real or promulgated, that threatened our very existence. It is that all peoples of the world will plead with their world leaders to deliver them from this evil. The one thing every man fears is the unknown. When presented with this scenario, individual rights will be willingly relinquished for the guarantee of their well-being granted to them by their world government. I can't reiterate enough how important this statement is. And this was allegedly Henry Kissinger speaking at the Bilderberg organization in Evian, France in 1992. I've never been able to corroborate that. It doesn't make these words any less true. So if you want to go ahead and the comments say, "Well, Kissinger never said that." Kissinger said a whole lot of stuff. World Affairs on Council Press. The New World Order cannot happen without U.S. participation, as we are the most significant component. Yes, there will be a New World Order, and it will force the United States to change its perceptions. And I actually have a reference for that one. So number 48, and you can actually scroll down here and see that there's a number 48, and that is directly from the Wikipedia page on the New World Order. So that quote has a reference on the Wikipedia page. But regardless, I never could find one for this. But it doesn't change the thing that we would willingly give up our rights if we were told there was an outside threat from beyond, whether real or promulgated. Promulgated. How many people know what that word means? It means bullshit, fake, promote, or widely known. An idea or a cause. To one that we just put out there into the universe. That we promulgated it ourselves. That it was propaganda. Whether real or propaganda. And that's really the true nature of all of this talk about these biosafety labs. That this is propaganda, and that fear is the mind killer, and that fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. So at the end of the day, what we're really seeing is a whole lot of propaganda about Ukrainian bioweapons labs, when the bigger picture is the fact that from Fort Detrick, Maryland, to deep in Moscow, to Ukraine, to Wuhan, all over the globe, these bioweapons labs are real. They are likely leaking on a regular basis. We never hear about it. And the only reason we're hearing about it now is because fear porn motivates. That fear, uncertainty, and doubt, FUD, is one of the greatest motivators ever. That if you don't know what FUD is, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and how they use it in combination with slave speak to keep us all on a mental plantation. It's hard to fight an enemy who has outposts in your heads. Ideas are more powerful than guns. We would not let our enemies have guns. Why should we let them have ideas? That's what's going on here. That they want to create enough fear, uncertainty, and doubt that they can get you to willingly give up your rights. They did it with COVID. They did it with 9/11, 2001. When they passed, laws that basically gave the NSA sweeping ability to spy on everything that we're doing. And people went along with it because terrorism, because Al-Qaeda. And then it was because ISIS. And then it was because COVID. And then it was because climate change. And now it's because Ukraine, because bioweapons, because weapons of mass destruction, WMDs. Iraq was because weapons of mass destruction, WMDs. Do you hear the drums of war? And what does this all have to do with Cliff High, talking about 0 day and the SWIFT thing, and Biden and them talking about making the digital, great reset, being able to take away our ability to have the freedom of a digital backed currency, and crushing all of the markets of the world by basically allowing this conflict to go ahead. and hyping it up in the news. There's a lot going on. There's way more going on than we're going to be able to cover in a video. If I spend another hour talking about this, which I seriously could, it wouldn't cover the surface of all this. So I'm just going to say, let's focus on being positive. And, you know, I want to map all of these facilities out. I think that would be a good start, you know, for everybody to be able to just say, hey, here are all of the bioweapons labs. Now you know it's in your backyard. You might want to look into it. That's why I mapped out all the nuclear reactors of the world. I mapped out all these nuclear reactors because I wanted to know, where are the nuclear reactors at? Where are all these HARP facilities at? You know, and I'm in South Carolina. What the heck? I have an alarm going off. Uno momento. How rude. How rude. No, you don't get the dad bod for the video. The bell worked. You playing. You playing. I think you playing with me. But yeah, that's why I did this, because I'm over here in Sumter, South Carolina, right? Sure. And I wanted to know which nuclear reactors were near me after Fukushima. So I quickly, you know, went and did this thing, right? Sure. Because I wanted to be able to see all these facilities and know what's, you know, what's in the hood. I might want to know about these sorts of things. So I went and, you know, mapped every nuclear reactor out in the world. I'd like to know how many biosafety weapons labs are in my neighborhood. And I think that a lot of people could really benefit from that. So if you'd like to get involved in this, grab yourself a Google Earth, go in here, find the locations, put the dots, more dots. The more dots, the better. Let me turn this Wikimapy off before it blows up again. And we can find every single one of these Ukrainian ones as a start, and then just expand from there. If you live in a different country, which one of you went to Jim's house? No, I mean, I've had a couple people come to my house. There's no shit. You know, called me up on the phone and say, hey, I want to meet with you. And I'm like, my address is on my website, and yeah, just give me a call. You can't actually physically come into my house, but you know, because I have a family. I have 2 children and a wife, and you're not allowed around them. I don't trust people, and you shouldn't either. Shouldn't trust me. I could be wrong. Fuck. Do your own homework. But this is my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. I'm giving you the tools. Go get Google Earth Pro. It's free. Map out the facilities. Know that I will double check everything you send me. Send it to jim@climateviewer.com. You can find that on connect.climateviewer.com. And that will bring you to this page right here, which has all of my websites, my Patreon, my PayPal, my merch shop, my videos, and all of that stuff, my social media, and my Discord chat. And down here at the bottom is my phone number and my email address. So if you go to connect.climateviewer.com, you can find all of these things. Phone number, email address. I make websites for other people. Hey, I'm broke. This channel does not pay the bills. It barely does. Get the ExpressVPN. That helps out. Go to the Patreon. Go to the PayPal. That helps out. But last case scenario, if you want me to make you a beautiful website, I'll do that, because you can go to RedNet Solutions. And you can see where I make websites for people. And I would love to do some work for you, like I did for Team Robinson, my mixed martial arts studio I go to, my children go to, my 12-year-old daughter's in Orange Belt in MMA. Things like that. Restaurant Second Mill, Ray Family Dentistry. I make websites, and here's examples of that, and video, and all sorts of things. And this is me doing the photography for my sensei, Jerome Robinson. Shout out to Jerome. that being said, I do want to give one last shout out, and I hope that you guys will appreciate this. Because this video has been such a dark video, and I want to bring up something a little bit more lighthearted. I have kids. You might have kids, especially if you have young kids. Teaching kids to be a critical thinker in today's world is priority number one, because there is so much bullshit out there, and they've got to understand that everybody's trying to manipulate them in one way, shape, or form. And I find books like this refreshing. And a friend of mine, I don't make $1 for this. I'm doing this because Christine is a friend. And she wrote the book, Why Does the Moon Shine So Bright? And you can see it right here, this button. I made her this website for her book. I made this website. So you can actually see a little bit of my work because I appreciate her work. And you can get this book in paperback on Kindle or in Spanish on paperback or Kindle. And that's Christine right there. It was illustrated by Steve Hirschad. And the illustrations are absolutely amazing. The book is great. My children love it. Even my 12-year-old gets a kick out of it. And the artwork is phenomenal. I mean, it is absolutely phenomenal, as you can see. And I mean, some of the questions inside, it's just, why is the moon shine so bright? Well, that's because the earth is flat and it's not actually illuminated at all. It's, it's completely self-illuminating. I mean, it doesn't say why. So you can fill in the blanks. And I think that this is one of the best books. I absolutely love the artwork. There's one particular picture that I just absolutely adore. How did it get up there? And they're like, well, maybe some gnomes shot it up there with a slingshot. There may have used a slingshot to shoot it into the sky. I told my brother Harold that, but he said that was a lie. I mean, it's just a great book. Anyway, Christine Lydon, Why Does the Moon Shine So Bright? If you get a copy of it, please leave her, a comment on Amazon. It'll help her out. The book is cheap. It's for a friend. I don't make $1. I'd greatly appreciate you guys checking it out or buying it for one of those family members who has a child, because it's just just in general, it's a great book. And I wanted to end on a lighter note because this is a dark subject. I've been getting the haters lately going, Jim, I thought you said you weren't going to do fear porn anymore. It isn't fear porn if I am literally responding to the massive amount of fear porn on TV regarding these facilities and then saying we should know more about them and let's take our power and use that in a positive way to map out all of the bioweapons labs on the planet and make it open source. That way we can know, because I fear what I don't know. That's one of the few things that I fear. I don't fear man. I don't fear guns. I don't fear the government. I don't fear any of you fucks. I fear the thing I don't know. And I think that a lot of people are in the same boat. So instead of not knowing and being left in the dark and being allowed to be propagandized by the Russian government, the American government, the Chinese are now getting in on this. Let's just open the book and put it on a map and let the chips fall where they may. Because knowing is half the battle. And with information comes power. And with power comes great responsibility. So please use the information that I provided you today to attack ideas, not people. And please help me out with the map. I would greatly appreciate that. Otherwise, it's going to take me forever by myself. I'm just saying. Love you, mean it. If the video resonates with you, leave me a comment because I love hearing from y'all. First time here, be sure to subscribe and click the bell. Yeah! Remember, it would be impossible for me to do this without your support, so please join my Patreon or buy me a coffee on PayPal. And always, attack ideas, not people.